Good day, my fellow South Africans. My name is Ricardo Malman, and this is a message brought to you by the Republican Party of South Africa. Today, I would like to discuss with you Ramaphosa's constitutional bargain. Ramaphosa is the man credited with leading the discussions and negotiations and determination of the constitution of the new Democratic Republic of South Africa. These discussions took place in the early 1990s, and they were called CODESA, and it was only political parties that were allowed to participate in these discussions. The Constitution of South Africa is an important document. Our Constitution determines the distribution of power and the distribution of wealth in our society. Therefore, it is very, very strange that only political parties were allowed to participate in these discussions. And in 1996, it was only political parties that were allowed to confirm or ratify the Constitution. Now let us look at the distribution of power in South Africa. The distribution of power in South Africa starts with the election. Every 5 years, South Africans are allowed to participate in an election where they are allowed only to choose between different political parties, only. And only political parties that can afford to pay several hundreds of thousands of rands to the IEC in order to appear on the ballot are allowed to participate in the elections. After the South African people have casted their votes, the IEC tally up the votes and they allocate certain numbers of seats to the different political parties that participated in the election. These political parties, in their turn, can allocate these seats to any of their party members that they choose without any reservation or restriction. When any of these members of parliament passes away, becomes sick, or for some reason or the other are unable to perform their duties in parliament, these same political parties can replace them with other members without any restrictions or reservations. In essence, when people vote every 5 years, they give political parties a blank check to populate parliament as they see fit. It is in parliament that the president of South Africa is elected, and not by the people of South Africa. If you can recall, former President Thabo Mbeki lost an internal political contestation against Zuma, an ANC contestation, and thereafter he was duly recalled and replaced as South African president before an election, and he was replaced by Kgalema Motlanthe, who the people did not vote for. The same situation recurred 1 decade later when Jacob Zuma himself was replaced by Ramaphosa before the general election. So that proves it is Parliament that elects the president, not the people. The last branch of our government is the judiciary, the courts. Between Parliament and the presidency, they appoint all the judges in our land, including the Chief Justice of the Constitutional Court. So if we look here carefully, we find that Parliament, where our laws are made, are controlled exclusively by political parties. The president, that is the executive of the government, is chosen by Parliament, exclusively political parties. The judiciary is appointed by Parliament and the presidency together, again, power exclusively to political parties. So if we look at the distribution of power, it would be correct to say that in South Africa, all power to the political parties. Now, as you have seen here, that in order for a political party to attain such popularity, to attain such influence in society, requires a lot of money. Political parties have to pay several hundreds of thousands of rands to the IEC in order for them to appear on the ballot. They have to print T-shirts and pamphlets and posters and run ads on TV and radio. Political parties have to bus people into stadiums. This all costs a lot of money. Political parties primarily rely on donations and membership fees in order for them to fund themselves. Because of the great amount of power that is at stake, it becomes an easy and very lucrative affair for those with money, especially business people, to fund and therefore influence South African political parties and gain a firm grip on our political system. Now, to confirm this, let us consider the distribution of wealth in South Africa as per our constitutional system. Now, as I've said before, the one who controls a nation's currency or a nation's money controls the entire economy. In South Africa, through our constitution, negotiated by Ramaphosa, the constitution has given the South African Reserve Bank and a few private banks in South Africa the exclusive and legal right to create money out of thin air. Now, who can compete in an economy? Who can compete with anyone who has an exclusive right to create money out of thin air? No one can, because in essence, they have an unlimited supply of money. So when it comes to how our constitution has distributed wealth, it would be correct to say all wealth to the South African Reserve Bank and the private banking system. When we look at the constitutional bargain that Ramaphosa has concluded, one sees that there is an unholy alliance between political power and wealth, especially wealth in the form of the private banking sector. It is no wonder that the most powerful man in our country, Ramaphosa, is also one of our country's wealthiest individuals. The constitutional bargain of South Africa was a deceit and a fraud perpetrated against the people of South Africa. They were made to believe that all power belongs to them and that their vote matters. So they have this illusion of power and sold an illusion of freedom in exchange for a usurpation of power, a usurious usurpation of power by political parties and the private banking establishment. My fellow South Africans, support the Republican Party of South Africa. It is our aim to highlight to you all the deception and fraud that unfortunately has been the bargain of South Africa. Because it is through this knowledge and truth and the understanding of this truth that we shall attain true and real freedom. Thank you very much.